from New York. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we had the pleasure of meeting with the top brass at the NYPD. And I wanted to take this time to talk about it and reassure everyone listening and all the communities that tune in that Shawnee Culture will never let you down. When it comes to dealing with the cops, Shawnee Culture will never let you down. What was your theme yesterday, Shawnee Culture, in that meeting?
Look, I need y'all to be accountable.
That's right.
Right? For the bad apples in your organization.
That's right.
Like, I can't, I mean, I understand they want the relationship between the police and the people to be even and balanced and understand that they are humans. They want us to understand that they are humans, and I'm with that.
But you got to understand that we're humans, too.
Right. To be understood, you got to understand.
Accountability.
You know what I'm saying? Accountability. So I just kept on hammering it down because to me,
but
that's
we know,
the only...
Shawnee, we were there.
Shawnee said it like 5 different ways.
Yeah, so Shawnee would bring up the accountability thing, and then we all brought it up on some. All of us would say it on some level, and then we keep talking, and then Shawnee's like, I just got to say it one more time, accountability. And I look at Laura, I'm like, feels like we've already covered this a couple times.
I'm like, and then I'm going to say it a different way. No, I need you guys to identify the people in your organization who are the rotten apples and not just identify the ones in our community.
And after the 6th time we brought that up, I kind of let the room off the hook because I know that the new commissioner has recently fired the guy that killed the woman with the mental health issue, the 66-year-old woman in the Bronx, fired that officer.
Yep.
That officer is so mad that he got fired, he's putting out his own advertisements in the newspaper trying to take shots at the commissioner.
Right.
We also, a few weeks ago, saw them roll up, 10 different officers that were that been on the force like 20 years for taking money and, by doing things behind the scenes. And we saw yesterday another officer got rolled up for transporting cocaine and marijuana in the city.
But when you say rolled up,
meaning they were fired, but the process, and we talked about this yesterday, the process of them actually going to jail, the union stand in the way of that.
That's
right. So it's the politics. And I'm not mad at whatever the politics are, I get it. But I'm just saying, like, to get outside of the politics, to get the people's trust, which is what they want, right? It's justice for all. It's the same thing with America being sold this marketing dream over there.
Right.
And it ain't real. It's not real. So now we have to try to pull away some of the layers. Because if people want the trust of the police, we have to feel like there's really justice for all. You know what I mean? If 80% of our population are good people and 20% are bad, and we know 80% of the police are good, but 20% are bad, you got to identify them 20% of the police.
And you got to be outspoken. And you got to be outspoken about it and not be afraid.
Right. Don't be afraid. Be the first on the dance floor to say, look, we're going to start pointing out our bad cops, and we're going to put them away. You do that, you're gonna start getting the trust of the people.
I agree, I think
they heard us.
I think the people we sat with definitely got that, and I think they agree. I think they also know how uphill a battle it is fighting the unions,
right?
And that they know they're up against a monster that's been there. And as they explained to us, they're trying to reverse years and years and years, decades and decades and decades of cultural serious problems, like fundamentally misunderstanding the community they serve.
And they were very honest. They were like, look, some people will not want to change. They're like, we're trying to, change the way we police our communities. And they're like, look, some people are for it. Some people are open to listen to the changes. And some probably will not want to do it because they were honest. Right. And I appreciated the honesty.
Me too.
And they were clear that a lot of the new police officers that they're bringing into the force, they want us, the community and us here at Ebro in the Morning, to have more dialogue with those individuals about understanding what it's really like to live in New York City. Like, we got into that conversation yesterday that when the subway fares go up and there's not jobs and the schools are crap, all of that falls in the lap of the police officers. All that frustration in the community falls on the NYPD. They should be equally as pissed as we are that we are putting just regular everyday citizens in such a pickle and making life so hard, because then the community starts to go at each other and the cops are in between that. Right? And but the cops, y'all got to understand that's why people are pissed. And they see you as an extension of the government.
Right.
They don't know the difference between you and an MTA, you and a senator. And so when senators is out here acting up, or Trump is out here acting up, and we even talked about yesterday how most people don't even know the difference between NYPD and the relationships and the good things that we have happening here in New York City, and a cop killing that happens in Baltimore.
Yep.
And they admitted that they've done research that people don't know the difference.
And they also told us but they won't come out. Because I said y'all should just come out and say if something happens like that in Baltimore, that y'all should come out and be like, hey, we wouldn't do that. Right. We're against that. But they're like, well, we can't do that because, and then there's the politics again. Right. And that's a hard part.
And that type of real talk would go a long way with the people. That's not us. That's not how we want to police. We want to police New York City differently. They will start to get the trust of the people.
Because we were telling them yesterday, I mean, the truth is, over these last few years, since all of this stuff has really been in the spotlight, there's not been a lot of bad stuff that's happened in New York, right? Like in the years post Eric Garner, there have been a couple certainly that have happened. But by and large, they handled all the protests of the last couple years really well. It's been good. But at the same time, the perception isn't that because there have been bad things all over the country. And we don't all separate it. We just see police stuff. And I think the police have to deal with that every day, that people see that and they're hurt and they're upset. And it makes sense. And as Ebro said, it's not their responsibility to know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, people live their lives. You open the paper, damn, cop shot someone. You may not even look at where it happened. But it affects you.
And I use the example, and it's very important if you're listening, because most, obviously, NYPD wasn't at this meeting. It was only how many people?
10, 12 people.
And this was all the top people, all the bosses. The commissioner came in. And I use the example that when Funk Flex does something crazy on Hot 97, people talk to me like I support what Flex did. I don't see Flex. He comes to work at 7 in the evening. I come to work at 5, 6 in the morning. We don't talk. We don't always agree, but the same thing happens on your job. And I was trying to make them understand that I can't be mad at the person who walks up on the street and starts screaming at me about what Funk Flex did or a song we're not playing. He just looks at me as Hot 97.
Right.
And police, you have to be smarter. You got to know that the regular citizen doesn't know the difference. They don't know the inner workings. They're just trying to put food on the table. That's all they know. And we even went and started talking about what's going on when you guys start giving citations to these teenagers that turn into desk warrants, that turn into a kid in handcuffs that may never get reversed because that kid comes from a house that they can't afford to get them help that they need or to get them bail that they need. Police aren't sensitive to the realities of the communities that they serve.
Right.
And so we talked about them being sensitive to that. Like, you're policing communities where you got mothers strung out on drugs, fathers in jail, kids being taken care of by grandmother who is not well herself, frustrated and mad going to school, feeling like every day when I go to school is a prison anyway because I'm getting pat downs worse than the airport and getting talked to crazy just to go get an education. You think that kid, and then Laura brought up the programs is getting cut.
But it's true, when the after school programs get slashed, the kids they have nowhere to go. So they go and, Burger King and start fights, and then it's on Wall Street, then they get arrested, and then they're in jail, and then there's no money to bail them out. And
so you guys are actually getting a taste of what the actual meeting was. Ebro did that exact same spiel. Laura said exactly that. And if it was yesterday, Shawnee would then jump in and go, and then accountability.
I need you to be accountable for the rotten apples organization.
Oh, guys,
but you know what? And you got to teach these kids to drink water. And a lot of their neighborhoods don't even have food in them. There's food deserts.
He was sure to have vegetable talk.
But I will say this to give them some credit. I did like that they said that they're stressing that they're not doing regular roundups as much.
Precision policing.
Precision policing is what they try to emphasize, that they're not just grabbing 30 young black men and saying, all of you, I see you on the corner, we're taking all of you in and get everybody's fingerprints. They're trying to get the real bad apples, right? So that's clean. Because I was a part of them roundups and I've seen it happen to a lot of people. So if you're trying to be more precise with the people that you want to lock down because they actually are the bad guys, that's dope. That's dope. The commercials that they showed us, weak.
You didn't like them?
I
liked one of them.
I liked one of them.
One of them was cool, but it's like, it's not enough to get the trust. It's cool, but it's not enough to get the trust. It's the beginning, it's a start, but I think really, as I said yesterday,
it's accountability.
It's accountability.
Thank you. It is accountability. In case you guys are wondering, the word of the day today, the word of the day is accountability. It's accountability. Yeah.